Going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Saeed TV. Justin Fergie time there from Double A. Yeah, man. What you lot saying? Big up to everybody locked in right now. You know what I mean? Man United news. I don't really do this at the start of the day, but I think I'm going to introduce this more and more in the channel. Whenever we get a bit of United news, discuss it with the lads. And Double A's here. Nice scene in the background. Got a collection of shirts in the background. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, looking good, man. Looking good. What are you saying, Double A? Everything blessed.
Mate, it's good to be back. I feel like I've been in the wilderness and not been on the channel for a few weeks. Laptop issues, had to go and get myself a new one.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to be back. Mate, this club is stressing me out. And I feel like I've been in my feelings the last couple of weeks regarding United. Yeah. Even when, like, I've just come back from Lanzarote, even when I go away, I think the first day of the holiday was when I'm not even going to call him Sir, the Jim Ratcliffe news broke. And I was like, do you know what? I need to just stay away because I'm not letting it ruin my holiday. There's absolutely no chance. So it's just good to, I mean, there's always something to talk about at Manchester United. I think that's a good thing for us. You're never struggling for things to talk about when it comes to Manchester United. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, man. I tell you, man, there's always something around the corner, man. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. Make sure you like the video. Everybody right now, smash the like button on the video. Make sure you follow Double A FC on YouTube. Link is in the title of the video. Make sure you do that. And yeah, we got to go straight into it, man. I don't know if you've seen the news about David Hay last night. And then it's come out of nowhere. Neil Custis from The Sun come out and said, basically, Man United are plotting a sensational move for David De Gea on a short-term deal. Obviously, Onana's going to the AFCON. It then leaves us only with two keepers. And obviously, with Ten Hag, he then kind of like, obviously, wants three keepers at the football club. Happened last time with Dubravka coming in. And then David De Gea has come out and he's done this cryptic tweet. You know, when he does this little cryptic kind of like, emoji. Yeah, he's trolling basically, innit? And he's come this and he's putting like that, like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And yeah, it's funny. But Double A, what are you making of this, man? Because it sent the fan base in meltdown yesterday, and everyone was like, "Why are we signing back? What's going on? It's all mad. It's all this and that." But man, David De Gea coming back after he left just in the summer, crazy.
It can never happen, can it? It just can't happen. It undermines not only the manager, it undermines Onana, it undermines the signing of Bayern. It's free-folding, and it undermines the club. It makes the club look even sillier than they normally do. So and we'll start from the beginning. It's Neil Custis and it's the Sun. I mean, he's the guy that said Qatar was pretty much all done and dusted. It's not the newspaper.
It's not 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not the newspaper to believe in anything that comes out. Yes, he's been a Manchester United journalist for years, but I don't mean for me. He sounds like he's not very well in with the club, and he gets fed nonsense which he puts out on the regular. So for me, I don't think it's something. It's a non-starter, and De Gea's going to jump on it because, like I just said, De Gea is a troll. We saw it when the whole contract stuff, and he was doing the circus emojis to basically saying the club's a circus, which we know it is.
Yeah.
I just can't see, why go and get Bayern if we're not going to trust him for 4 or 5 games that Onana might be out for during the AFCON. We've not even seen him yet. And I was having a discussion with someone just this afternoon talking about, I would have liked to have seen him play in the Carabao Cup against Palace. It's nice. But and then me and this person were going back and forth saying, I think with Ten Hag, he's one of the managers that wants to win every competition, a lot like Pep. When we're talking about, well, Pep still plays Ortega during some cup competitions. I mean, we played him in the FA Cup, and he was the best keeper in the final. But with Onana, I think it was a bad time for Onana to get took out the team, because then it looks like he's dropping him, and it adds more pressure the next time he comes back in the team, when really it's just rotation. So big up Sahin, by the way, absolute legend of a guy.
Big up Sahin, man.
Big Dortmund fan, collects the shirts. He's a big legend. So big up Sahin. But no, I think you got to trust the keeper. We brought him in. He was the number one for Fenerbahce. I think he's 100 appearances in 4 years for Fenerbahce. So he's not a mug. He's not a mug by any chance or by any stretch of the imagination. So why would you then go and bring a keeper that you've just let go that would want around 150 to 200 grand? I'm going to assume De Gea is going to ask for. It undermines the manager because I don't think the manager wants him back. I don't think the most of the fans don't want him back. I think we've moved on from that now. I think
we've done, man. That story's done now, man. It's only going to be the fact that it's sentiment in it, and the fact that we're bringing him back because he doesn't have another club, and that's not down to us as a fan base. I didn't like the way he was let go. I'm not gonna lie to you. The manner he was let go. I did agree with the fact that he was let go, but not the manner in which he was let go. He didn't get a send off. I think he deserved at least a send off for him being a kind of a hero at Man United. I didn't like that, and the way it was kind of done was very, very ugly. But I do agree with the decision to let him go because he ended up not being in the manager's plans. And you can't have a player who's not in the manager's plans. It's the same with Ronaldo, and I don't do revisionism. Ronaldo. Ronaldo had to go. A, he did an interview against the manager, and B, he didn't fit what we were trying to do. That's simple as that. If the manager wants us to press from the front and then create overloads in the space, and Ronaldo can't do that, there's no point keeping Ronaldo just for the sake of keeping Ronaldo. There's no point in that. So I feel like with that situation there, both things can be true, and I think ultimately David De Gea, there's no point bringing him back. There isn't, man. It's just going to be sentiment involved, and Bayern, let's see what he's about. We've got Tom Heaton as well. We've got Tom Heaton as well.
We've got youth keepers to come in as a number 3. I think. Listen, I love David De Gea, and I think for me, David De Gea. Listen, people go mad, but I have problems with Peter Schmeichel. So I have Van der Sar and De Gea as my top 2 United keepers of all time. I absolutely love David De Gea. I think he had a fantastic season last season. Personally, I would have been happy for him to stay another season while we sorted out other issues in the team. Because as we've seen this season, and it's not because he's a bad keeper, but playing as a Manchester United goalkeeper is not an easy position to do. And Onana is struggling at the moment, and he's not getting enough support from some of the fan base. I think the fan base are quick to throw him under the bus because of their love for De Gea. And I think it's one of those. I think I'm quite lucky in that once a player leaves, I'm not going to start comparing him to the new player to the player that's left. I want to judge Onana on what he brings to the team. And for me, yes, he needs to improve in certain areas, but it's still that bedding in period. We're 9 games into a Premier League season. It's far too early to be writing him off. And then, thinking that we need to bring last season's keeper back. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that. It causes more problems than it solves in bringing David De Gea back. Like I say,
that's what I'm saying for the vibes. Like, nah, man, we need to move forward, man. You might as well bring back, I don't know, Wayne Rooney back. You know what I mean, and let him stick him up front. Like, come on, man.
Like, he'd bag for us. We don't create any chances, mate. So we'd struggle to do that for him. To be fair,
he'd just probably stick one from the halfway line and just do him, man. Generally, if Wayne Rooney played in this team, he would just shoot from the halfway line all the time because he'd not get the ball. You know what I mean? So he'd be like, you know what, F this, man. I'm getting out of here. Probably. So
he'd spend half the time arguing. He'd just be having he'd be arguing with these players non-stop, telling him what to do. You saw it when he was a captain. He used to shout his head off. Sometimes when it was his fault, but Wayne Rooney could not stand this team. I think he'd absolutely hate the guts out of most of them for not being good enough and not having the levels that he was used to when he played for Man. Even when we had not poor Manchester United teams, but these teams in transition were never as bad as this team. I mean, you think of the 04 to 06 team, Manchester United, when Rooney and Ronaldo were sort of on the come up, and we was playing Richardson, and Fergie was building that team again. They were still not as bad as this team is now, and with so many meaty players in this team, and I think
and also
upsetting your apple cart by bringing back a legend who left in like you said, not nice circumstances. He's not going to help us one bit in trying to move forward and a new era under Ten Hag.
But also, we don't need these short-term signings as well, man. We've had Weghorst, Sabitzer, like these have got to stop, man. Like these short-term signings guys have got to stop, man. Like I've had enough, man, because they've not been great. Igalo, it was all right, but again, like you know what I mean. And that's another thing as well that United have got to stop doing is these short-term approaches. Reguilon so far, I would say okay, nothing crazy. I think his injury record has not been great in that regard. But again, even him, man, like we're just kind of like doing little short-termism, and it's not good, man. So I feel like even when David Gea does come back, the toxicity is going to be so bad because you're then going to have a David Gea in out kind of thing again. Like we've just gone through that. Like I get it, Onana's under pressure, but we haven't got a clear divide. It's almost like maybe people are doubting him whether he's good enough, but it's not like we want him out and we're done with him. You know what I mean? We're not done with him yet. So
No,
it's one of them where you got to give it Onana time, and that would have given the world a good. It's funny how that news comes about just as Onana gets a little bit kind of confidence in that regard. Like, come on, man, we got to back Onana, man, and Bayenda, we got to know what he's about. Simple as that.
Absolutely. But imagine De Gea came to us as an 18, 19-year-old now when he first did. Bro, he'd be hounded out of Manchester now. The way he was playing and you could clearly see the potential was there, but he had to adapt to it. Yes, he was younger than Onana. You think Onana being a more experienced goalkeeper, international, playing in Champions League final, would fit in a lot sooner. But it's not easy to coin a famous phrase. It ain't easy. But imagine De Gea come to United now as an 18-year-old. The way he was playing when he first come, he would absolutely be gone. He'd be hounded out of Manchester. Like there's no time. That's because the reason why he was afforded so much time is because he was brought into a team that was challenging, and because we're not challenging now, and we are just a team that's happy to get top four. It's straight away. If you don't make an immediate impact and you're not playing at a top level straight away, people are on your neck, and social media has taken such a leap in everything. United fans being hounded now and called out for abusing Harry Maguire, which the majority I've never seen at Old Trafford. You've never seen it at Old Trafford. It's not something that Manchester United fans do. It's just obviously you see the toxicity that happens on social media that people say the wildest of stuff, but because of that small section of United fans that do that, we're all tired with that brush of doing it. And I believe if it wouldn't be nice for De Gea to come back. I think we saw last season the mistakes were creeping in, and it was almost becoming a sort of campaign to get him out of the club. And you think, if you're going to do that against a legend of the club, when he's been there for 11 years, if he comes back and drops a stinker in his first game, what's going to happen? All hell is going to break loose. Do you know what I mean? So it's a nice thought, and I think if we didn't have an established number one, I would probably go, why not? What's the worst that can happen? Let's see what he does. But because we have Onana, because we've brought in a number two this season who's yet to play, it just makes absolutely.
We need him to play, man. We need him to play because I need to know how good he is and if he is bad, I need to know how bad he is. You know what I mean? We might get a reality check come December or whenever. I think AFCON is in January. We may scream David Gea to come back, but right now we need to know how good he is, and that's why Ten Hag needs to play him a game, man. Like let him get a game next Tuesday. Surely Bayendi's got to play, man. Like surely, because even if for me he is the number one. Obviously, he's going to be the number one. He needs to get a bit kind of warmed up, man. He needs to, feel the gloves. He needs to feel the ball, man. Like, I've not seen anything of him. Newcastle game, he's got to play Bayender. Like, he's got to play for me.
I would say so. Like, it's a shame we didn't play for the Palace game. I think the Newcastle game is bigger, and you throw him in against a Newcastle team that seemed to be playing really well and only lost last night. But still, you'd expect it to be a really, really tough game. What you don't want, and obviously from now until January, it's only going to be the League Cup that he would potentially play. He's not going to get any Premier League games, and he won't get any Champions League games. That's why I think it was a mistake not to play him against Palace. If we go out, he's not going to play a game until January, and you don't want him coming in absolutely cold. Yes, he's going to back himself, 25-year-old. Obviously thinks he can be number one. You're not going to come to Manchester United as a 25-year-old, knowing we'd already signed Onana without thinking I can take the number one spot. But you want him to get a little bit of, a warmth into the team, feel his way, play at Old Trafford, see what it's like. So I think for sure Bayern should get a game against Newcastle. I just don't think he will. Ten Hag loves to play his number one. I think he played him pretty much all season. I know he played Dubravka at Old Trafford, and it was an absolute stinker. Pretty much sent him straight back to Newcastle after that. But Yeah, I think it's really important Bayern gets some game time, especially as he's not confirmed yet, but we all expect Onana to go to AFCON, and rightly so. Only so many times you can play in competitions for your country. I've got no problems with it. I know some people don't seem to like the fact it's in January and everything like that, but you sign African players knowing that they have this tournament at this time of year, and that shouldn't stop
100%.
you signing African players. There's some of the best in the world, and some absolute outstanding talent out there. So, like you said, Onana's going to go. We have to back who we've got, Heaton and Bayern, bring a youth keeper through as that third choice, and just trust what we've got. We just kind of, because these, like you said before, these loan signings we've had, it's almost like United to come in, Make-A-Wish Foundation, just giving people chances. Last chance saloon for people. Do you know what I mean? To live out the dreams. And you talk about Exile, he was almost like, he acted almost like me and you would if we got a chance to play at Old Trafford. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the stuff of dreams for him. Yeah. And Weghorst was the same. Almost crying after scoring at Old Trafford. It's one of them where we need to stop doing this and stop giving these stupid loan signings chances to live out.
No, 100%, man. 100%, bro. 100%. Moving on, people, make sure you like the video. It helps the channel out massively for the algorithm. So if you're here right now, you're always normally here. Regular viewers, so you should know the score by now. Hit that like button, people. Sancho, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's been some latest developments on Sancho and what has really gone on behind the scenes. It's been Laura Whitwell has come out with several key situations of the report, and one of them is Sancho is not allowed in Man United senior facilities, and therefore parks his car in the academy building and gets ready there. While changing to training gear, he has to lock himself in the academy dressing room, ensure he does not inadvertently mix with any underage players. I think that bit might be to do with safeguarding and whatnot. But there's a little bit more on it as well. There's a bit on the fact that he can't. What's the word I'm looking for? There was issues over his pressing pre-Arsenal, video meetings in an attempt to rectify, private apology, public comms, and kept to academy facilities. Eric Ten Hag steadfast, so January exit discussed, but tough for European clubs. There's been a lot of this coming out now, and it's just getting worse and worse what's coming out of there now. I mean, it's not great, is it? But what did you make of it? I don't know if you've seen any of the bits that have come out. But yeah, what have you made of it, bro?
No, this is the first I've really seen of it today. I mean, again, it's another topic that we're bored of. I mean,
yeah,
Jadon Sancho, for me, I still to this day, as we did on the Unfiltered, mate, he is in the wrong, 100% in the wrong. Like, I don't care what your manager says against you. And if he went above and beyond and said something really damaging to your image or your character or your professionalism, I could understand it. Ten Hag didn't even say anything that bad. And if anything, it should have kicked him up the ass to make him realize I'm not doing enough. I'm not showing this manager I am worthy of being in this team. And again, it all comes down to how you take it as a man, how you take it as a woman, how you take it as a person, how you see yourself in everyday life. And for me, I think Roy Keane said it. If a manager ever said that about me, I couldn't handle that. I would have to show him you are in the wrong. And there's a way of doing it. There's always a way of doing it, a right way and a wrong way. Sadly for me, Jadon Sancho took the wrong way of doing it, and he's paying the price for that. And I think, the more we hear about it, the more he's just doubling down. He's never going to say he was in the wrong and apologize to Ten Hag. So that leaves one thing for it to happen, and that's for him to leave the club. And listen, I fully back the manager on it. I think the manager can't be seen to allow this type of behavior to happen and continue. Because once you say, "Oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. Come back here, mate. Oh, give us a hug. Get back into the team." You go. He loses all power in that dressing room, and the team know that he's a pushover. And I think we've seen that with far too many. Well, I say far too many managers. It was just Ole was an absolute pushover. Wanted to be everyone's best friend. What else are you're gonna do. Like I think with Sancho, if he's not going to apologise, he's not going to admit he's in the wrong. He's not going to try and get himself back into the team in the right way. The club do nothing else but say, well, you have to be over there, train by yourself until we find a solution to get you out of the club. Sadly, it's happened. You know, if
it's
it happens,
gone beyond repairable. It's gone beyond repairable.
Absolutely.
I mean, this has come out from the findings. This is what happened apparently on Monday, the 11th of September, during the international break. After a break abroad, Ten Hag showed Jadon Sancho videos of training to him, explain why he felt his performance was insufficient. The footage concerns the final session before the defeat at Arsenal, during which Sancho was asked to replicate style of the away team against the Exile selected by Ten Hag. Along with the manager, players on the bench or not selected must imitate the opposition style in the team training. Sancho knew he would not start at the Emirates, and in Ten Hag's eyes, he did not get involved in the Exile as much as expected, and his pressing was a problem. In the 72 hours that followed, there were discussions about he could apologise. Ten Hag wanted a face-to-face apology, which the club would then communicate publicly in order to contextualise Sancho's return to the group. Sancho opposed the double recognition of the fault. His representatives, including lawyers, were involved in the proceedings, which ended in an impasse. On 14th of September, United released a statement saying Sancho will trade away from the team. Ten Hag believes the ball is in the player's court. He must apologise, accept that United publish their apologies and work to get his place back. You know what it is? The more and more, listen, I think this is more than just training. I really do. I think this must be deeper than that because Sancho would just come out and say, listen, sorry, I didn't train well. And you know what? I did that. I feel like the fact that he has to probably say that he's apologizing and then for United to publicly put it out there, I don't get it for me. What's said behind closed doors needs to be kept behind closed doors. Why do Man United need to put out a comms that Sancho's apologized? What is it? What does it achieve anything? I don't know if maybe Ten Hag wants one up on Sancho because the fact that he publicly basically said, yo, I don't know what the manager's saying, but he's clearly lying or I didn't say that, whatever. I think there's a tick for tack involved. I always think for me, and I've maintained it, that, you know what, should have been kept behind closed doors. But I do believe there's something bigger out there. There must be something that, has riled up Sancho that has happened in training ground. Because he would have said, I've been made a scapegoat. There's certain things that he said in the statement that I was like, hold on a minute. He didn't really say something and leave it as that. He kind of elaborated. He kind of went back. He then said this. He said that. And I'm like, which one is it? And that kind of confusion for me was like, I don't know if it's just training because he started the preseason well. He started the season fairly well. He was in good spirit. There wasn't a case of, you know what, I might not play. Like, it's not as if Anthony was knocking the door down. Not as if anyone was knocking the door down. Like, it's just training. Doesn't mean you're going to start. Doesn't mean you're not going to play. Like, and that's where I'm at. And I feel like for me, yes, they should have come together and come back. Maybe Sancho should have apologized, but it's just got too much for me. All of this can't train here, can't do this. It's a bit too much for me, a bit too excessive. But then again, the manager's in charge, and you know what? Sancho will never win in this situation, and he has to understand that he's never going to win. And he's going to be the guy that leaves out in January. So I don't know. People saying Sancho making a big deal out of nothing. If you feel hard wrong by something, you're gonna speak out regardless. If you're in work and you feel like you haven't done something wrong, you are gonna speak out. But it's got to the situation where it's untenable now. It's very, very much untenable. Double A, like it's the ending point now. Really,
Yeah, it's
really is the ending point.
absolutely broken. And the problem is with Manchester United, Saeed, is that the club, it's just full of holes. So everything that most clubs, this happens all the time. Players fall out with managers all the time, and they apologise. And there's disagreements. Players fall out with players.
Yeah.
Players have fights. The only thing is, most of these clubs, you never hear it happen. Manchester United, you hear it about everything. You hear when the cook farts, while he's making the breakfast for the players. You hear everything.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with Manchester United. And I think the fact it's gone on for so long, and we're hearing more and more come out and out. It obviously shows that there's no middle ground now. There's no way that the Ten Hag and Sancho are probably going to rectify this and move on. It just seems it's, and then for me, obviously, it's a shame we're so far away from January because it just means it's just going to we're going to keep hearing more and more. The more he doesn't apologize, the more it doesn't get sorted, the more we see and hear everything that's going on. And you raise a good point about the fact United want it to be public that they've said he's apologised. Why do we need that? Why? Because the only thing I can think of is it's saving face for the club, really, and it's to stop people wanting to report on it. Whereas back in the day, I don't know if you probably all seen the David Beckham documentary. You know, the whole thing about when he got kicked by the boot, hit by the boot by Fergie.
Fergie.
All that happened was Fergie in a press conference just said, "Listen, this didn't happen. That's it. We move on." And it was done. Yes, that was pretty much the end of his career, close United. But you know, he played again, and it's one of them that, for me, as a man, listen, if I'm in the wrong or something, I can hold my hands up and I can apologise. If my manager's saying I'm not doing something right and I'm not working to what he feels is my best ability, it's okay for me to think, well, I'm doing everything I can. But the manager's the one that sets the levels. The manager's the one that has his expectations on what he wants every player to do and every player to hit targets. If you're not hitting his targets, that's the most important thing to remember. His targets. If you're not doing what he wants you to do, regardless of what you think you're doing, your manager's in the right. If you want to play for the team, you have to do what the manager wants. So if the manager says you didn't perform well enough in training, and that's why you've not played, you need to look at yourself and say, right, well, I need to make sure that I'm the first in, last out. So he knows that I'm serious about playing for Manchester United every single time. And you talk about the scapegoat stuff, because yes, you can talk about favoritism, but every manager has favorites. And people are saying about Anthony, about Bruno, about Rashford. Yes, they are free, but invariably last season, Bruno and Rashford were pretty much our best players. Anthony, he absolutely loves, so he will play. You have to do more than them.
Not, again, that's the thing. I think that's where Sancho's coming from. I think, the fact that he's got his favourites, and you know what, it's affecting the team now. And he's like, you know what, forget this, man. You know what I mean? He probably thinks like, you know what, he's probably going to get sacked or whatever, and I'm done. Like, and his favourites will be his favourites. Anthony comes back, it's crazy. Anthony comes back and he's straight into the team, like, no messing around, it's straight in there. It's not a good environment to be in, though, is it? Though when you're deep in, it's not a very good environment to be in, though.
It is when Anthony does more for the team than what Sancho does. And
no end product, though. No end product.
Yeah, and I hear that, and that's the issue when you're a winger. But he defensively, and it's a stupid thing to say, I understand, but defensively, he's our best wide player defensively than Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho. As a system player, he's better than all the rest, and he adds more to the team in that aspect. Going forward, he's highly frustrating to the point where I'm getting sick of him, and I absolutely love him as a player, but I need to see more from him now. And so for that reason, I can understand why he comes straight back into the team, because I think, when you see Sancho, or when you see Garnacho, when you see especially Garnacho and Rashford on Tuesday night, absolutely shocking when you get put through and they both can't control the ball, or these forwards at the moment are absolutely frustrating. So when there's a player that offers at least something more than they are, I can understand why the manager wants to play him, because he trusts him. But for Sancho, for me, it comes down to this at the end of the day. I think you just have to suck it up and you just have to apologize, even if it means you have to save a bit of face and just accept that you're not going to win, and you come back and you get in the team and you play till January or whatever. Surely that is better than you being labelled a baby and a problem, because apart from Dortmund or Juventus, Juventus are full of problems. So apart from these teams that may want you back or may want you, who's going to touch you? Because the last thing you need is a reputation as this or that, and especially when it comes to something negative. As soon as the manager says something bad against you, I'm going to throw my toys out the pram. I'm going to put statements out. I'm going to just be an embarrassment. I'm going to not apologize. It's not what you want for a football club. It's not what you want in your team. And you just need to. Sometimes you just have to be the bigger man and take your medicine and move on. And I think the lack of that, and it was misguided to put that statement out. And I think from some rumors I've heard, his people didn't know about it. that he was going to do it, which I find hard to believe. But it's sad because you look back. Yes, he's not done great in the 2 seasons that he's played for us. But he was a player we all wanted. He was a player that we expected a lot from. He's a player with unfound potential and unlimited potential, but we've not seen it. And sadly, I don't think we ever will now. And that's a sad thing for us and for Jadon Sancho and his career.
Yeah, absolutely. HK says manager doesn't call him out. Sancho doesn't respond. Listen, I think for me, it's one of them where I would have kept it in house. Me, I mean, I wouldn't have said it to the press conferences and the media and the journalism because I just feel like for me, they're the ones that will misconstrue it and take things out of context. And he's been doing well to keep everything in. So, listen, man, we'll have to see where this goes. But listen, he's gonna go in January, whether people like it or not. He will leave in January, and you know what? It's another failure at the football club in terms of another signing that has flopped. As sad as it sounds, it's another signing that has flopped, people. So
but the
it is
signs
what
were
it
there.
is.
The signs were there. Saeed, we've seen it at City. There's a reason why Pep didn't keep him around. No, it's not a case
Now,
of.
to be fair though, I always hear this here, but he did want first team opportunities as well. He wanted to prove himself. I get it. There was these issues about training, but there was also Pep Guardiola came out and said, he wanted to have more opportunities. There was one quote that said he wanted to become a better version of himself, and that's why he left. So I understand when people say, "Oh, he didn't play well enough." I get it, but at the same time, he also wanted to leave and pursues opportunities elsewhere.
But then
So
there's rumors at Dortmund as well. He was doing the same thing about training, staying up, playing computer games, coming in training late. It's followed him around at 3 clubs now, and eventually there's only one person to blame, and that's yourself. Especially, we don't know the reasons why fully, but Ten Hag gave him 2-3 months off. That's that's unheard of anywhere in football for a manager to do that.
Yeah,
and he's come back. He's played him in 4 positions. What I was going to say about the scapegoat stuff is what this is just what I personally believe. I think Sancho thinks he's become a scapegoat because of how he was played in the summer. I think he was used as the false 9 for Ten Hag to tell the club, sign me an effing striker. I need a number 9. Look, I'm having to play a wide player at 9, and he did it. And then the first game of the season, he was out of the team. So for me, maybe he thinks he's a scapegoat because he's been put in the team for the simple fact of being used as a message to the board to sign Højlund or sign whoever it is. And maybe that's what, and I agree with Sancho on that. If you feel you're only in the team to make a point and not for your footballing ability, I would be annoyed and pissed off at that as well. So if that's the reason, I get it. But then, the chances you had, you come on against Wolves, he looked okay. And then when he's in the team, he doesn't feel you confidence that he's going to absolutely smash it, that he's going to absolutely turn it on and put in a match-winning performance. I don't think I've ever seen him have a man-of-the-match performance for Manchester United. So, listen, Ten Hag owes him nothing. He's not a Ten Hag signing. He's not his player. And if you're not doing it for the manager who didn't sign you, there's only one way for you to go if you're not going to turn it in, and that's to get out the door.
Absolutely. Guys, it's over 500 in here, and I think we've only got 150 likes. Come on, guys, we need your likes. That's the only way the algorithm is going to go up, and we're going to get more numbers in here and more people joining the stream. So, thumbs up button. It looks like that. Hit that button, and that's your way of supporting the channel, people. I wanted to discuss Mason Mount. It's an interesting one, yeah? And maybe it doesn't need to be discussed, but maybe it does. But how do we get him into this team and play consistent? Because this is our 60 million signing here, and people are forgetting about Mason Mount. And listen, I didn't want him at the football club and sign him and whatnot, but it seems to be he's not played the last 2 games. Everyone thought that he would play this Champions League game because he didn't play against what's his name, Sheffield United. So you kind of thought yourself, right, he'll play at this game here. Hasn't played here. Is it because again, you know what I mean, he might not be the guy that Ten Hag is looking for in terms of output? I did say in terms of Mason Mount, he gives you a lot off the ball, but doesn't give you anything on the ball in terms of assist. I don't think he's got a goal or assist this season. Nothing really. No. And that's a problem, man. And I just look at him like, damn, man, what? As much as you're giving energy and pressing, all of a sudden now McTominay's into the team now, playing back-to-back games, and and he's got new lease of life, and he'll probably now not leave the football club because he's thinking he's got game time, So I don't know, man. It's one of them where he scores a goal, McTominay, but again, he's not great in terms of what he gives you. You know what I mean? Mount got an assist. Did he get an assist? When did he get an assist?
Palace from the corner for Casemiro, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. My bad. Yeah, Carabao Cup. Yeah. Premier League, Champions League, nothing as of yet. But yeah, man, what we saying, Mount? Is he out of favour? Is he not what we needed? We should have not have got. Like, what are you saying?
Oh, you ever overspent on a pair of trainers and you wear them once and then you think, you know what? These aren't for me, I don't think these suit me. I just think it was a signing to sign him. It's a player that Ten Hag wants. Clearly he's not a player for a system, because otherwise he'd be playing regardless, wouldn't he? And as soon as he come back, he would have been straight in the team. You talk about Anthony. Anthony came back from Brazil, straight in the team. Mason Mount, back from injury, not straight back in the team. He's clearly not a system player. And listen, and it also tells you the problem maybe deeper with Ten Hag is that and everyone knows how I feel about McTominay, and I'm not jumping on McTominay at all in this point, but McTominay scores 2 last-minute goals, comes on to cause problems up top, does his job. He starts the next 2 games. He wasn't starting before that. He's basically playing because he scored 2 goals in a game, and then one against Sheffield. He's almost given away as many penalties as he has scored in the last last exactly. 3 games, bro. which tells you everything you need to know. So at the end of the day, Ten Hag clearly doesn't have players that he thinks has to play every single week to fit a system. I think he's scrambling at the moment to try and put a team together. With the injuries aren't helping, and suspensions. Obviously, it's in the Champions League to Casemiro.
Yeah,
with Mason Mount, mate, I'm there with you. Never wanted him at the club. I've never rated him before United signed him. Never really been a fan of him. I don't support England, so he's not a player that I watch internationally. But for Chelsea,
he didn't go to the England squad. He didn't get the England squad, obviously.
But you look back at the World Cup and he was starting over Foden and Rashford, and people couldn't believe it because he wasn't playing well. And it's like, again, he's fancied by the manager there, and that's why he was playing all the time. And then it's like, well, he can come here and play on the right wing, or he can play on the left wing as well. And it's like, again, you're trying to find a place for him. Why has he not got a place in the team? Bruno Fernandes invariably is going to play at number 10. Rashford's going to play on the left unless there's no number 9. Players have positions. Why are we constantly, as a fan base and maybe even the manager, trying to shoehorn players in to a team when they should be coming into the club with positions in mind? Mason Mount should have been the number 10 or the number 8. And he comes in, I can play there. I can play number 8. It's just, he's a pair of Nike Air Force Max that I didn't want, and I don't like. Is it them baby blue Air Force Ones that I bought that I don't like because they remind me of City, and I think that's what makes him out. Listen, he come in and did okay against Palace. I think probably one of our best performances in that game against Palace in terms of we looked a bit more fluid. There's a bit more football played with him and Hannibal. Looked okay. People talking about him and Højlund starting to maybe have a little bit of a link up, but I see and this goes back to so many other footballers we've bought. If you can't tell me within 5 attributes of a player something he does with the ball that's great for the team, and you're talking about him running around and finding space,
exactly.
If I'm seeing compilations of Mason Mount tracking back and tackling rather than him do something with a football, that lets me know that you're scrambling to tell me Mason Mount's a great footballer. So I think for me it's, and I've said it, I think he will turn out to be the worst signing of the season in all of the Premier League. I just, mate, bro, for the price tag, the price tag's not spoken about enough. People will jump off the Empire State Building to defend how bad Anthony is, 90 million, when we paid 65, whatever it was, 55 to 65 for Mason Mount in the last year of his contract. for a player who's not worth 65 with 3 years on his contract is absolutely crazy to me. Like, why did we buy him? And then we give him the number 7 shirt, which makes it worse. And then you play him and you see him and Bruno are basically the same player. And I've said before, he's basically just a fish and chips Donny van der Beek. Really, he's no different to Donny van der Beek
as well. I want to touch on Donny van der Beek as well. Let me get some super chats involved here. HKM Music, big up to everybody send super chats. Become a member if you want to do that. Help support the channel, people. HKM Music, Sancho balled out of Dortmund. The club briefed the press against Sancho. Even Dortmund fans will take him back. I don't think Sancho's a bad person. I think he and Erik Ten Hag is frustrated with each other. Yeah, I think there's a lack of communication as well involved as well in that. And I think
there's a lack of respect. A lack of respect between them both as well.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, what's that? Birthday? Is that your birthday? You got a MacBook? Are you on a? You're on a MacBook. Are you doing it from the iPad? Are you on the iPad?
No, I'm on a MacBook. I don't know what happened. I didn't press anything then, though.
Yeah. If you do that, he'll do a like. He'll do a like video. Say do that.
He's not doing it now.
No, do one hand. Do one hand.
Come on.
Do the other hand. Do the other hand.
You're just making me.
I don't know.
Like an idiot.
I don't know. I thought it would change. Jay Social's been a while, my guy, man. Big up to you because we're judging players who are playing under a coach who lacks a system and guidance. Our players aren't bad as this manager's making them look. You know what? Is that a good point there? Is that a good point? Like, because listen, you know what it is with me, yeah? I look at Bruno Fernandes and I look at Mason Mount and I'm like, what do us fans want? Do we want GA? Because it will, and that's dried up for Bruno Fernandes. Or do we want Mason Mount, who doesn't give you GA, but then doesn't really look better than Bruno Fernandes on the ball? But you know what? We'll at least keep the ball more technical, bit more technically secure, bit more give and go, bit more tenacious, bit more kind of like, I think, polished. But Bruno Fernandes has goals and assists in him. But the problem is that has dried up. But the manager don't want to drop him. And the manager will literally play him through bad form. Donny van der Beek's in the club. He's not getting a sniff. Would he do any worse than Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount? Like, generally. I know he's not played well, and I know he's not been consistent. I always look at right now, Hannibal. We're asking Hannibal now, like, us fans, I feel like we're so confused as to what we want because everything that gets put out there, it's just shit. Like, it's just, let's be honest, man. Like, anything we do, man, it's just, nothing comes of it.
But you know? I'm glad you mentioned Hannibal, yeah, because Eriksen and Hannibal have been our best midfielders this season. For me, I think
Eriksen has been quality, man.
Well, it's just a shame.
It's
just a shame Eriksen's not got the legs and he can't last 90 minutes. He's good to come on at 60 when we need that control in the game.
Put the legs around him. Put the legs around him then. Put the legs around Eriksen.
Yeah, who though? Like, I genuinely think for me, our best midfield would be if we could play at 90 minutes. Is Casemiro, Hannibal, and Eriksen. I think Hannibal for me has been harshly done by. He got took off at that first half against Galatasaray when he wasn't our worst player, and he come on.
Yeah, no.
And Eriksen played okay, but Hannibal for me has been fantastic, and he deserves to be back in the team, especially when other players like Bruno are stinking out the gaff, and Mount can't get in the team. Hannibal has been brilliant, mate. They've been brilliant.
Yeah, Hannibal. You know the thing is though, he gets a bit of a good performance, and then it just doesn't. He gets dropped, and I'm like, what is this going on? But my thing is, my best front three would be Amrabat, Casemiro, and Eriksen. Right now, you've got Eriksen as the one dictating in the 10 role, the creator. You've got Casemiro who can then be that. I think to me he can be that box to box, but obviously sitting deep and play Casemiro. Amrabat in there. So you have two midfielders around Rodri, and who else is going to be in that midfield? Just nullify their midfield, and then you have Eriksen as more just the middleman. I think that would work, but the problem is the manager is going to be insistent on Bruno Fernandes, and that's the problem. You know, he won't even drop it for one game. Like, we played him without Crystal Palace, and we looked a bit more fluid, but is it enough sample size for the fan base, isn't it? You know what I mean? By the way, people are hating on Amrabat now for some reason. I don't understand why people are not liking Amrabat now. Like, they're saying he's not that good, and you know, it's just, I don't understand people, man.
So no time given, bro. If you don't come in and give tens every single game, people get on your back regardless. But I like Amrabat. I think he's done really well. I was surprised he went off. On Tuesday, people saying it was tactical rather than an injury, which really does surprise me, especially when he left McTominay on. and the only thing he did in the game was give away that penalty right at the death. I think again, it's just weird. Like it's not. Are you playing McTominay because he scored 3 goals? Is that really the reason?
Yeah.
Why you're playing this player over Amrabat, who's someone you know, someone you've chased all summer?
Yeah.
I think we do need to see that Amrabat and Casemiro base again, and allowing, because the good thing about those two is, you know, one can sit and one can go a bit forward. And we've seen last season Casemiro was loving getting forward more. He was one of our biggest attacking threats. He could have had double figures in terms of goals, I think, last season if he was a bit more on the lucky side and he didn't miss half the season. But you know, Amrabat again, you know, I think he's a really good footballer. I think he's added something to this team, and I think he's got a lot of potential to be a great squad player for the club. I think, you know, he's not the one of the best players in the world in that position, but he's very steady and very reliable and dependable, and he offers something that a lot of the players we have don't have, and we don't have enough of those players for me. But him and, you know, people are writing off Casemiro far too early for me, and it's almost like certain players can't have a dip in form. It's either you're great or you're finished, and too many people are writing him off saying he's finished, when really he's just going through a bad patch. And once he gets back in the team and he feels a bit more comfortable, I think Casemiro will be back to being the Casemiro we know and love. But yeah, I think for Sunday it has to be. It will be hopefully Casemiro, Bruno, and Amrabat. I think they're 3 that we
but
must.
Did you see? Let me just get a super chat here. Big up to HK, says the legs thing is a myth. It's called football, not track. Eriksen is our best 10. He should be starting. With all the legs, Mount and Bruno have done nothing. Play Amrabat, Cassie, and Eriksen. I'm with HKN. I think, you know what?
But I agree with that. But when you've not got the ball enough, when against Manchester City, we've not got the ball, he's going to be running around. He's not going to be. He's just going to get blown past, and that's the problem.
I feel like we ran. How many kilometers did we run against Copenhagen? I think it was so low, the kilometers. We ran 5K less than Copenhagen. Like, so if we're gonna run, we're not even running now. We're not even chasing back. This idea that we're running around, I don't think, like against Sheffield United, were we pressing better than them? We were getting the ball off. They were bopping it around. Burnley in that game, it was only Hannibal that was running around. I feel like this idea that we have to run around for the sake of running around is a myth. It's also when you do have the ball, though. Like, why can't we against Man City? I get it, they're going to be pressing us and whatnot, but against Arsenal, look at Arsenal team. They ended up having more of the ball and actually dictating play. You've got to have a system, you've got to have a style, and I think we don't have that right now. So what we're doing is we're compensating that with we've got to run around. Then we've got to run around, you know, and that running around is going to be, and then players are not running around enough. So look at Rashford, the guy's walking around.
Mate, yeah, and that's ill discipline for them players. But, you know, against Sheffield United and against Copenhagen, you're expecting United to have more of the ball, and they're not as dangerous as Manchester City, are they? And we are going to need people to, like, yes, they might not do it, but we need the players to be pressing and you know, closing these players down, getting close to them. I just don't think Eriksen can do it to a level that Mount and Bruno can both do it. Whether they're going to do it is another matter. That's not what I'm here to argue. It's just, I know when we've seen him play, I think it was it the game at their place last season when it was Bruno, Eriksen, and McTominay. Mate, I don't know if you can remember that game, but you know, that first half was disgusting. We can't allow that to happen, and that's why we need Casemiro and Amrabat. I think them two holding it down, and you know, we just need everyone to be there and on it, and finally playing together. But we seem to turn up at Old Trafford most of the time against City, to be fair. A few times.
I feel like this one's different. You know what it is with the City game we had in January? I don't know what the results were like, but we weren't playing that bad leading up to the Manchester derby. We had an identity. We were tough to beat. We had these transitional moments. We were devastating on the break. Rashford was getting goals. Like it was good. Like Rashford was on scoring 14, 15 games in a row. Like I remember Rashford was the top scorer after the World Cup. So United were coming into that derby in a good shape. Man United coming into this derby, bro, I don't know, man. We're looking all over the place, guys, man. And that's the worry for me, man. Is that we're not looking great. The midfield ain't great, and ultimately the manager has to stop putting his favourites out there, and just go for a team that's well balanced, and that will be the bane of his time right now. Is that we don't think that he's doing enough to get the best out of the team right now. I don't think he's doing enough for me to get the best out of this Man United team. That's just my own opinion in that one. Jay Soldier says here, we all praise Modric, but if Modric played at United, we'll have the same complaint. Good systems have to work, have the ball work for you. Yeah, but we don't have enough of possession as well. Like, yeah, when Eriksen came on, we had a lot of possession and whatnot, but you know what I mean? The way we give it away is so hot potato style. It's ridiculous, man. Like the way we just give the ball away, I can't believe it, like the fact that we don't pride ourselves in at least having possession. Like having possession for the sake of having possession is not good. But the fact that we just give the ball away, nobody has a pride in giving the ball. Like, why don't we do that? Like have some sense of pride. You just want to give it away and launch it. And you know what we've become now as well? Double A. Hoofball. Have you noticed now? Onana, hoofball.
Yeah, but and he kicks out of play more often than he finds one of our players, mate. Like, bro. I don't understand the way we're meant to be playing it. Like you said, it seems like players are so quick to get rid of the ball. There's no looking to keep possession. Even like I can't remember the last time I've seen United playing triangles. I honestly don't remember the last time we see it. I take my daughter to a little football club on a Sunday morning. And it's all 1 to 2 year olds. They play better possession football than Manchester United do, and half of these can't even kick the ball. They're picking it up half the time. I think it's worrying that we look so devoid of any kind of system or any kind of style. Like someone said it, and I think it's true. I think we might play the worst football in definitely the Premier League, and maybe even Europe.
We do.
Even Europe.
Bro. I'm telling you now, we might play the worst football. Because Copenhagen came in and started bopping the football around. Like every single team, they can have more possession, more numbers, more everything. And it's like, this is Man United. And, what I mean? Like, why are we not priding ourselves in just keeping the ball and just, having a style of play? And that's something that I feel like for me, is a damning of Ten Hag, is that when people don't, enjoy watching. Like I was watching the Copenhagen fans in the first half. I was actually watching their chanting and the way they were going. Like their crowd was amazing. Yeah. Like I was in awe of their chants rather than our game. And then the referee had to blow the whistle at the 45th minute because he said, "You know what? This is a boring game, and you ain't gonna score. So I'm just basically, just stopping the game, basically."
He probably needed the toilet, mate. They were putting him to sleep. He needs to go and have a drink and wake up, a bit of refresh and that.
Bro,
honestly, this United team is so frustrating. But like going back to obviously Sunday, what I would say is like, yes, we're not as bad as we were last season, but I liken it to the way I would approach the game if I was Ten Hag, is just say, show him the Liverpool game at home. Where we come off them 2 defeats. And it was a must-win game for us. It's the biggest, one of the biggest games of our season. And we went and won. And I just say, listen, boys, like, we're not where we want to be. We're not performing how I want us to perform. And you know that. We see it week in, week out. This game is massive. The fact we're playing so bad, yet we're only 6 points behind Manchester City right now.
I know.
Says a lot about the league.
It could be 9 as well, but I get what you mean. It tells you a lot about, exactly.
It could be 3. So it's like, what would you rather us do, boys? Like, we can sit here and we can moan and bitch, or we can go out there and we can go and beat them and we can show them that we're serious, and we'll be 3 points behind them. And the season's very early, but it's nice to be up and around there. And it can't get any worse, can it? I actually don't think it can get any worse the way we're playing at the moment. We're scraping some wins, 3 in a row, as the chat is saying. It's something to build on, and you have to imagine it's going to click. We get the players back. We get these players back from injury. I mean, we can look to hopefully start to play a little bit better. You got to have faith, and I've been in my feelings about it, Manchester United. I've had the Maguire Defence League on me over the week on Tuesday night because I didn't celebrate right when he scored a goal. Apparently. It's hard to support United sometimes. Like it's amazing at points, but it is a very hard club to support, and most United fans will know that. Non-United fans won't understand it, and we look like spoiled brats and we look like babies. But overall, it's a very hard club to support most of the time. So, listen, there's nothing better than playing a derby, and no matter what form you're in, no matter what state you're in as a club, there's nothing better than a derby coming up. And it's not. I'm not overly excited as I have been for previous derbies, but I'm still excited that it's a derby this weekend, and we get to face off against, they're still our little brothers.
Are you confident in the attack though as well? Because obviously, the attack isn't great in a minute. One goal they've scored. I can't believe that. 8 games in. Is it 8, 9 games in? We're in right now. They've only scored 1 goal this season. That's been Rashford at Arsenal. Anthony's not scored a goal. Hoyler's not scored a goal in the Premier League. Garnacho's not scored. Martial not scored as well. Does that concern you? Because to me, it does concern me as well. We're playing through Rashford's bad form, and that doesn't help the team anyway. No. Anthony doesn't have any sort of rhythm or anything like that. He's not getting a goal assist since March. Højlund, I feel sorry for him. I do think for me, I thought he would click that Champions League game after that, but still, I feel like what it is with Højlund is that he makes the hard chances look easy, but the easy chances look hard, if you know what I mean. That's what, and then he's a kid, and that will come with age and that will come with experience. But I do feel like the chances that I do expect him to score, he doesn't score. But the ones that, remember the goal where he went down all the way down to the, touchline and whatnot, and then he scored a goal like that. That was amazing. The movement from Rashford in a Champions League game, that was good as well. Like I need a little one, but then they're not even putting the ball into the net. Like, he's a big lad. Why don't we get the crosses in as well? It's like, don't get the crosses in first time.
The problem with Højlund, and it's not a problem with Højlund, it's a problem that Højlund has to exist with and play with, is that he plays with wide players that are very greedy and don't look to create. Rashford and Anthony don't want to create for other people. Like, Anthony's frustrated in that he doesn't want to go to the byline. We know that he's got no right foot, and he's very easy to play against, in that if you put him on his right foot, he's going nowhere, and he'll turn back and he'll pass it, and the move's dead. Rashford just wants to score. Rashford wants to be the goal scorer, the main man. He doesn't want to play other players in. He played a good ball on Tuesday, I believe, to Højlund for that chance.
Yeah.
But you're not going to see that enough, and you're not going to see him looking to create chances for him. And I think one of them came out after the game saying, "Oh yeah, we're linking up. It's starting to build." I don't believe it is. I don't see it enough. I don't think we have the players. The only winger we have that wants to create is Palistra. He's the only one I can see that comes on.
I know. He doesn't get game time as well now.
Well, yeah, wants to get crosses into the box. But then you've got fullbacks who can't cross the ball. Dolo, I ain't gonna start jumping on that bandwagon. I've said enough about him. He can't cross the ball to save.
I don't know. I think for me with Delo, I know everyone's rating him and whatnot, but his end product's still a bit meh, man.
He stinks. I don't know what he's good at. I genuinely don't know what he's good at. Like, they talk about him being technically sound. I think he's rubbish. I don't think he's very good at all. I think he's living off a purple patch last season, came back from the World Cup and lost his place to Wan-Bissaka. He's only there now because Wan-Bissaka's injured. I think if Wan-Bissaka was fit, he wouldn't be playing. And I've watched him so many times. He's not got a high footballing IQ, constantly having to be told by Varane and his captain where to be, telling him that he's too far back for a fullback, having to push him up. And I don't think he can't cross. And, he scores a good goal against Sheffield United and everyone's buzzing about him again. Maybe he should be number 10. Like McTominay clearly is, and not a midfielder. Let's play Delo at 10 if he's that good. Do you know what I mean? But as a fullback, he doesn't do enough for me. So we've got too many players that don't want to cross the ball. Can't cross the ball. Can't create a chance for a number 9. But we've had this for Martial, Weghorst,
4 goals. Ronaldo left. Was Ronaldo really the problem? Ronaldo, man, I can't believe it, man. It's mad, And this is what all the Ronaldo guys, Statman Bays, all of them guys, man, they're all onto me, man, because they're like, yo, how many goals have we scored since Ronaldo left? It's
we won't score any with him. In this team right now, Ronaldo would not be scoring a goal, mate, and he would be cutting the most frustrated figure that would be dragging us down even further if that's even possible. Imagine Ronaldo with his attitude in this team right now. Absolute joke. Ronaldo shouldn't have even come. I was buzzing when he did come because I thought it was something we needed.
Hindsight, innit? Yeah.
It was a push forward. It was, living in that sort of dreamland of Ronaldo coming back, scoring goals when he had a good first season. But obviously, you have to back your manager. The manager didn't think Ronaldo could offer what he wanted in the team, and the manager is allowed to think that, guys. You have to remember, Erik Ten Hag is here to manage the team. He's not here to keep you happy with keeping players who were your favorite or you've rated as the greatest of all time. He's not here to do that. He doesn't give two shits about that, and I agree with that. So the fact he didn't think Ronaldo was right, and he's right to think that, and you have to just live with it. But the problem is, and the manager doesn't get what he wants. You know, if he'd have gone and got Harry Kane, I think we'd be in a much better position than we are now. And sadly, that didn't happen. We had to get a young player who's learning. But from what I've seen of him, you know, give him time. He's going to be one of the best strikers in the world for me.
Yeah, 100%. I hope so, man. I hope so. Abdi Sheikh says it's clearly that Erik Ten Hag has his favourites who will start every game despite their performance. Bruno, captain, is the worst thing for this club. Erik Ten Hag out. Wow. Abdi Sheikh's always been kind of consistent on that. And listen, he said his bit there. But listen, the mountain will be against Ten Hag because it'll be 5 losses already this season if we lose against Man City, which won't be great for the morale of the team. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't see anything but a loss on a Sunday. I just don't know where we're getting the goals from, man. I'll be real with you. And the way we play like that on Tuesday night, where we just were so miserable, a better team will score the goals and we'll get the win. So, yes, it'll be an emotional derby with the Bobby Charlton and everything what's happened, and generally like derbies can uplift you. You know, they can bring a lot out for me. But I also think there's so many massive holes in this team that Man City will just decimate us, man. I'll be real with you. Like, I want to bring the hype in. I want to bring the energy. You know me, I'm shameless. I'll be the first one to say we're having it, we're beating them. But I just look at our performances. I just think they're not there, man. They're not there for us to get the win. And if we do win, I'll be massively surprised and I'll be buzzing. But bro, you know what I mean, get me to that game and we'll see how we'll do that. We've got a comment here from there. 1 second. I'm gonna read the comment here. He says, "I hate how the stupid narrative of the YouTubers go with. You know, Ronaldo scored 24 goals this the first season. You know what? I tell a fraud was pissed he didn't come to preseason because his daughter was sick. Listen, we don't know the ins and outs of what happened behind the scenes, but I did think though that goals didn't really amount to anything because we still had a bad season. I think that was a problem with, and I don't blame Ronaldo, but I also think if you're gonna back something, you have to back the manager's philosophy. If he's coming to the door and he says, "I don't really want to fancy Ronaldo for me to do what I do," you have to judge it on that premise. You can't just say, "Oh, later on you can say fair play." Yeah, I mean, we didn't really improve after Ronaldo, but at that point, you have to back the man fully. You can't just say, "Well, he might get you goals, Ronaldo," but come on, man, we've got to be honest with ourselves. We can't be doing revisionism. You can't.
Listen, I said it about Sancho and I say it about Ronaldo. I don't care if Ronaldo is your favorite player of all time. Erik Ten Hag owes him nothing, absolutely nothing. Like, he's not his signing, he's not his player. And Ten Hag even come out and said, "I'm looking forward to playing with him." From what I believe and what we've said is that Ronaldo was the problem. Ronaldo did worse than what Sancho did. He walked off while the game was playing. I was there at Old Trafford and I saw it. Like, that's worse than putting up a statement. That's walking away from your team. I don't care who you are. Don't care if you scored 1,000 goals. You don't do that. You don't do that to your team or the manager. Yeah, like professional. Yeah. That for me is you just being a bigger baby. And listen, these Ronaldo stands are some of the worst in football for me because they don't believe he can do any wrong. Listen, he went against the club on national TV. He went against the club and started spitting his dummy out to Piers Morgan. You don't do it. If you wanted to go, just go. Just go and say, "Cancel my contract and I'll leave." You don't need the money. Just go if you're going to do it. Don't go on TV, start calling out the club, calling out the manager, and then only picking players that play for your national team that you like and stuff like that, because you're just making yourself look like an idiot. And that's what he did, Ronaldo, and it leaves a sour taste in the mouth for me, for Ronaldo, like to think, when he come back, it just ended sour again. So, listen, you can talk about Ten Hag didn't treat him right. Ten Hag didn't respect him. He doesn't have to. He's a football manager. If I come into a club and a player's there that I see that I don't think he's going to do enough for me and the way I want to play, and you can talk about Erik Ten Hag now, but in that first season, we was all raving about him. He won us a trophy, he got us top 4. He did everything right, and he went above and beyond everything that we expected of him. So last season, if you look at it, he actually did the right thing in getting Ronaldo gone, because I don't think we win a trophy and get top 4 with Ronaldo in that team. So you can look back at it now, and Ronaldo's scoring goals in Saudi Arabia, being watched by 10 people. Like, doesn't matter. He wouldn't do it in the Premier League now. He just wouldn't do it. So he's a year older, a year slower, and I don't think he would have done it. So at the end of the day, this is a problem when you get people who support your club who just follow players. Listen, I want what's best for Manchester United. I want what's best for Manchester United. I followed Ollie until I realised Ollie was. I didn't think Ollie was the man anyway, and I never wanted him to get the job. But after that season, he finished second, and we got Varane, Sancho, and Ronaldo. I thought, right, well, let's see what happens, and it was clear it wasn't going to happen. Ten Hag, I back him as well. And in the first season, he's done enough for me for this season that he can try and get it right. But too many people now are so quick to try and get rid of him just because he's not got their favourite player in the team. He's not kept Ronaldo. He's playing the captain every week, and he's playing the highest paid player every week. Yes, he can do better, but back your manager, back the club. Like, you know, too many people say, well, if you don't like it, go and support someone else. This, and this. If you're a Manchester United fan, you want what's best for Manchester United. And for me, right now, Erik Ten Hag is the best manager for Manchester United. That's available. So,
and that's we're gonna have to round it, probably leave it as that, people. Man, it's been a good stream, people. Still over 500 in the building. I will be live every Thursday from now on, people, around this time, 2:15. So make sure you join in the chat, people, and leave a like on the video. We've got 250 likes now. Can we get it to 300, guys? That would be amazing. If you could get it to 300 likes, it would be absolutely spot on. I will be live later on as well for the calling show, people. If anyone wants to get involved in the calling show, I will be live later on 7:30 for the calling show. So make sure you tune in to the calling show later on. That'll be 7:30 tonight, people. Double A, it's been a pleasure, man. Big up to you for coming on, bro.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me on. And obviously, I'll be back on the Unfiltered. I've been away for a couple of weeks, unexpected, but yeah, I'll be back on Sunday. Hopefully, talking about a derby win, mate. That's what we want, isn't it? I guess so. But yeah, big up to you every time. Big up to the best chat on YouTube. It's always appreciate to read some of the comments, nice or otherwise. But yeah, if you like me or you like what I talk about, 88FC is my channel to where I talk football. Go and subscribe. That would be absolutely fantastic. Sai said the link is in the description, so that's absolutely amazing. Yeah. Well, make sure you're liking this video. Make sure you're supporting this guy right here. Absolute legend of YouTube. So yeah, big up Saeed every single time.
Big up, man. Big up to Jay Social's great show and great Mandem show yesterday. Yeah, man, that was crazy. If you haven't watched a Mandem talk yesterday, I don't know if you've seen it yesterday.
I was watching it, but obviously I had on in my car. Obviously, I had the screen locked. So, mate, I was howling. I was driving on the motorway howling. What was I watching? Neji and Traps going at each other.
Traps, yeah, crazy. Legend. If you haven't watched it, guys, go watch it, man. One of the best Mandem talks ever, like generally. Yeah, no Premier League debate show, guys. The few lads couldn't make it, so we're gonna have to do a calling show instead. So check it out later on, people. Have your say. And yeah, it's been a good show. Double A. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Peace.